Deborah is the Assessment Design Coordinator for the Faculty of Business at Charles Sturt University. She analyses assessment and course design for course teams and provides advice on quality assessment design and marking criteria across degrees, with a particular focus on work-related learning. Michelle Harrison is Manager of Research and Information Skills, University of Sydney Library. She's currently working on implementing a research skill framework underpinning library research training and developing research impact tutorials for early career researchers. Over to you, Michelle and Deb.
Assessment both during and at the end of a course can be a powerful tool to guide and focus students and give them feedback that they need to develop further. The New South Wales and ANU cluster members have been experimenting with using the RSD and assessment to build student skills. The cluster is made up of representatives from 4 universities. So Sydney University, we're looking at exploring self-assessment. CSU is looking at the development of rubrics contextualised within different disciplines. UTS is looking at the development of resources to assist students with establishing baseline skills. And ANU is involved with online assessment. The first project I'm going to talk about is Sydney University. So we're running a pilot, or we did run a pilot, with both the Faculty of Arts and the Conservatorium of Music. I'm just going to talk about the arts project. So we looked at building students' awareness of their own skill levels by contextualising research skills using the RSD. We also used self-assessment to help students position themselves within that context. Before the pilot, we found that many of the library research sessions explicitly modelled desired skills, but they were not very explicit in providing the context for why those skills might be expert. So we find that this makes it difficult for students to recognise and internalise indicators of skills or quality. So we used the RSD to bring context to research skills sessions using visual representations. And we also used self-assessment to help students have a pathway to develop their research skills. So I'm going to hand over to Deb.
Thank you. At CSU, we've had quite a focus on criterion-referenced assessment and developing better communication to students around assessment. And so I've had a focus on designing RSD facets into assessment rubrics, which weren't always explicit, while they often were there implicitly within the subject. So I took the RSD facets and then looked at how I would relate them in this particular case to 5 law subjects that were using the ILAC method, and related each of that ILAC method around the issue, identifying the law, the application, argument and conclusion, and then looked at what the equivalent RSD facets were. And then we looked at the levels of autonomy, because we have 5 subjects going from first year, second year, third year through to 2 postgraduate subjects. Sorry, we'll go back for 2 seconds. And then we looked at how we would relate each of those to the different levels of autonomy.
I'll just briefly talk about Nicola Parker from UTS. So she's been looking at specialist master's courses and trying to work out ways to move students from one discipline to another, so develop baseline skills that they can use across different discipline areas. And she's been developing a range of resources such as online research modules to help the students do that.
ANU has been working in moving assessment tasks online and delivering their material online through the Research School of Business. We're offering 2 workshops today. The first 2 on here, Michelle is going to be leading a workshop on a self-assessment tool and developing pre and post assessment, so students learn how to determine their own skill level in assessment, in research. And I'm working on a workshop for building a rubric for a particular task based on the 6 facets of the RSD.
There's quite an argument about whether you build generic rubrics or whether you build criterion referenced rubrics associated with particular units of learning. What's your view on that?
when I build a rubric, my intention today was to do a workshop where you built generic descriptors that you then could take as a basis for relating directly to a learning outcome for a subject using the discipline terminology to put it into context. So it wasn't an intent to produce a generic rubric and say that's just what you do. I always believe you can contextualise it to a subject.